Recovery family, just coming at you with a new lesson, lesson 4, and the lesson is on sanity. That's a big one. I know I need sanity, and I don't know about you. But anyway, so, the one thing that I know is that, the Lord does not want insanity for our life. He does not want us to be in any trials or tribulations unless those trials or tribulations are meant to help us to grow or help us to learn something. Because I don't know about you, but when I have been in insane situations that at the time I didn't understand or couldn't feel why I had to go through this, it was interesting because once I went through it, I was, one, a stronger person for going through it, and two, learned something about not only myself but other people, and building on my strengths and things like that. So I know that the strongest strength that a person can have is to admit that they have, not that they have no struggles, but that they do have some, because you will never fix what struggle you have as long as you keep it in the dark. Putting things in the light makes the power of that struggle go away. When you are online, a lot of people go online, right? And they compare their life to other people online. And the funny thing is, the people you think that are living their best life online, some are living their worst life offline. So don't fall into the trap of comparison. Everyone has struggles. The relief you are looking for is allowing your struggle to be in the light. So let's kind of visit that a little bit more. All right, so I know for myself, when I was going through issues, whatever the issue was, I know that for me it was the more I kept it inside, the worse it was, because I felt like there was nobody else who could possibly be going through the same thing as I'm going through, that my struggle had to be so much worse than someone else's struggle. And the funny thing is I realized that is not the case at all. Most people that are going through a struggle, you can find 500 other people that are going through that same struggle. So sanity is finding peace within yourself and within the situation that you're in, and not comparing it to other people and not comparing it to what you feel is the standard, because the standard that a lot of people refer to is the public image that something is the way that it's supposed to be or is, when actually when you tear into it and you dig in, you realize that what you think is not sanity is what you think is not, a person going through insane situations, they actually are going through insane situations. So looks can be very deceiving, and we have to get to a place where if no one is there to encourage us, we encourage ourselves. Because the thing is that no one can understand your struggle better than you. No one can feel your struggle more than you. And nobody can win that victory from your struggle like you can. So in other words, if someone else is going through a struggle and they go through that struggle and they make it through, then they will come out on the other side stronger than what they were when they came in. So that's really the goal, is to, when you're going through a struggle, to realize that there's more to the story, meaning that if you succeed and go through that struggle, at first it seemed so big and it seemed like you weren't going to succeed and it seemed like you didn't understand it. There was not an end. It had absolutely no purpose. And then you look back on it now and you're like, aha, that's the whole reason that I went through that struggle, is that right there. So I would encourage you that understand that the Lord wants nothing but good for you. And even in struggle, there is something good in that. The Lord turns all bad for good for those who love him. So if you think about it that way, are we ever really going through a bad situation, without there being a payoff, I guess is the best way to put it. So I know for me, I can give you an example. For me, I was very, very badly picked on when I was younger because we were very poor. We didn't have money for food or clothing. I was skin and bones. My clothing was Salvation Army or worse, found in garbage cans. And my pants were rolled up 4 or 5 times so they wouldn't have to buy me clothes again, for 3 or 4 years. So I was picked on so badly to the point that people would not walk in my footsteps in school because they would say that they would get cooties. And I had kids that physically punched me and fought with me and called me names, and it was really horrific. But this one person, Stephanie, she just was bound and she was determined to make my life difficult. She was determined to keep me down so she was up. Now the funny thing is that when I was going through the situation with her, I felt like it was awful, it was horrific, it was uncomfortable, it was terrible. But the funny thing is now that I've went through that situation, when I have someone who comes up against me that has a bully mentality, they don't have the power over me to intimidate me or to make me, cave in or crumble to their devices, because I've become an expert in how to stand up against bullies because I was bullied. So that's an example of turning bad for good for those who love you, and that you can learn from every struggle. The struggle is something that, if you can almost look at it, it's a school of hard knocks. Have you ever heard that saying before? Well, your struggles are your education. Your struggles are your schooling, and they're meant to make you better. So, if no one's told you today, you matter, I'm proud of you, and I love you. Thanks, guys.